What is up, YouTube? This is T Quentin1 coming at you with another video, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Smile 2, the sequel to the 2022 horror film Smile, a movie that I felt somewhat conflicted over. I thought the performances were great, the themes and ideas were interesting, and the mythology was fascinating, and as we're seeing now in the sequel, full of possibilities. In almost every category, it was a pretty good movie, especially from a first time director, but it just wasn't scary, at least not to me. That having been said, Smile 2 is the real deal, an improvement on almost every level from its predecessor, and a movie that earns its place among horror sequels like Aliens and Bride of Frankenstein. Starting with Naomi Scott in the lead role as pop starlet Sky Riley. Scott is one of those actors, kind of like Evan Peters, who clearly has it. They're charismatic and talented, and they always seem to be just on the cusp of becoming a movie star, but for some reason they're not quite a household name yet. This should do it. I mean, she kills it in this movie. A great lead performance really seems to be the common denominator between the two Smile films.
These people bust their ass.
Typically, in modern horror movies, the protagonist is either a hardened survivor or a klutzy mess. What makes Sky great is she's neither. This is a character with a lot of damage, yes, and is at times a deeply unpleasant person, but you also do feel bad for her. This is someone who simply doesn't have a place to be alone with her thoughts, or someone to talk to and unload their mental health. Sky Riley has fans, sure, but no friends, which makes her an easy target for the smile demon. While the image of a stranger grinning at the main character still isn't quite as creepy as the movie seems to think it is, the sequel does some fun things with it. Highlights include the barbell kill shown in the trailer, and a great Weeping Angels inspired sequence where a group of attackers edge closer to Sky every time she looks away. It's more garish and colorful than the first film, which had a very clinical look to it. And there are moments where it leans into the inherent absurdity of the whole thing. Again, like Bride of Frankenstein, it's both creepier and funnier than what preceded it. And Parker Finn, as a director, has a kind of surety that you don't expect from someone with only two films under their belt. But his direction doesn't have any pretension to it either. It's stylish without being overblown, and visceral without being exploitive. The opening single take sequence is one of the best directed things I've seen all year, and all the ways in which he sneaks the image of a grin into scenes is nothing short of inspired. The guy really has it in him to be one of the next great horror directors. I mean, so long as he plays it smart and doesn't do something idiotic like sign on to an ill conceived remake nobody asked for. Now, you might look at the runtime and think it's a little long for a horror film, but I didn't feel that at all. I think because I felt such a genuine sympathy for Sky, I wasn't going hurry up and get to the monster. I was dreading it, hoping we might get one more scene of peace before the demon begins to warp our main character's mind beyond repair. And while this is never not Naomi Scott's movie, the other cast is pretty game. Rosemary DeWitt as her controlling mother is delightfully despicable, and Ray Nicholson has his dad's iconic grin down pat. Look, I enjoyed the shit out of this movie, and honestly, it might have earned a 10, but my only problem is that the third act, and the ending in particular, is kind of sloppy. I am going to be touching on spoilers, so yeah, look, it's a recommendation. Go see it. Okay, so spoiler alert, here we go. The creature in these films has always had just enough rules and mythology to not be totally abstract, but just ambiguous enough to still be mysterious and threatening. Here, though, that works against the movie. There are some contrivances at the end that are flat out lazy, and the only thing the movie can do is shrug and say, I don't know, I guess the demon can do that now. And in both movies, there's no real way to stop or even postpone the monster. And I think if they intend to make more of these, which is almost a certainty given this film's box office success, they're in serious danger of falling into the Final Destination trap. Now, what do I mean by that? The problem with the Final Destination movies is that nobody ever makes it. And so you never get emotionally invested in anyone because you know they're fucked anyway. I'm worried that might happen here since the demon is now 2 and 0. That having been said, the ending to this movie doesn't jump it yet, but the shark is clearly visible and construction has begun on the ramp. But look, 90% of this movie is some of the best filmmaking I've seen all year and one of the best performances the horror genre has had in years. So I can't give Smile 2 a perfect 10, but it's worth a 9.5. This is T Quentin 1 signing out.